Hello and welcome to the second FIFA International Women's Friendly between India and Uzbekistan. India falling short in that first game a few days ago as Uzbekistan picked up a 1-0 victory. We're live from the Padukone Dravid Centre for Sports Excellence in Bengaluru. India coming into this one now, losing 3 in their last 3 games. Had a decent result versus Jordan and then Maldives before that. Uzbekistan, on the other hand, now finding a bit of form themselves, having created quite a few chances in the last game and finally converting one thanks to Diarakon. Their number 10 as we take a look at the dressing room of the visitors. All set for this encounter. The second as they've made their way here to Bengaluru in India. Let's hear what
Hello
their
one more
coach has
time.
to
Hello
say.
everyone. So second game of the camp, second friendly game in this 10 days period. So we had small period in between the games to do some changes. So the idea of this game to improve what we were missing in the first game, and of course every game we go for a win. So we needed to improve the last third. As you saw in the first game, we had I could say many chances, but our finishing was not in the best shape, so we want to improve this. But of course, in general, game in our team.
Yeah.
Now we will start the same lineup as we start the first game. Of course, after some players will get in. As you saw, India changed a lot of players, so
Let's take a look at the warm-up for Uzbekistan as we heard from their coach Katrina Kulbeti. The starting 11 stays the same. They are unchanged as compared to the Indian side, who we will take a look at in a short while. Everything went well for Uzbekistan in that first matchup, so the coach feels that there is nothing to be changed right now. At least, of course, a few players will come on later as substitutes. And then the Indian side, 8 changes to their starting 11. Only 3 players who are unchanged as we take a look at that dressing room, playing in their orange strip and hoping to finish off this stint of friendlies with a
think
victory as they
like
head
I said
into
before, I think
qualification.
it's a good game to play before the AFC and for our preparation. So we are looking forward for this match. I think so. It will be a good match for us again. These are the matches where I want to try all my plays as much as.
So, as we heard from Coach Crispin Chetri, wants to give as much game time as possible to most of the players. That being said, just 3 of them are unchanged: Shilki Devi, Sangeeta Basfore, who skippers the side, and Soumya as well in the lineup. So 8 changes, including a change in between the sticks as Spiral also starts. So we're all said, it's a beautiful day here in Bengaluru. Warm-ups out of the way. We've heard from both the coaches, and now the players will be making their way onto the pitch. Always a proud moment, donning your national team's colours. And these two sides who played against each other in a hard-fought encounter a few days ago will lock horns once again. Karachik, the skipper of Uzbekistan, leading her side out, and Sangeeta Basford leading the Blue Tigresses. A slender 1-0 win in the last game for Uzbekistan. Let's see how this one pans out as we prepare for the national anthems of the sides. But before that, a few guests of honor. will be meeting the players. Always a special occasion whenever India hosts another country. And our guests get to meet the players as well as the referees, Chaminji and her team. India looking to bounce back from that 1-0 loss.
Now we'll go with Uzbekistan national anthem. And now for the Indian national anthem.
A wonderful moment as always, listening to your country's national anthem. Formalities out of the way, and we will kick off shortly. And alongside me in the commentary box, my co-commentator Rohit Ganguly, who was part of the last game that was played. Rohit, what can we expect from this one today?
Well, thank you so much, Liam. Very good evening to you. A very good evening to all our viewers. Before we get into the discussions of the match officials for the day, we've got Chaminji as the referee, Lee Subin and Yon In Hee as the assistant referees, and it's Kim Yu Jeong, the fourth official. Well, yes, getting back to your question, truth be told, in the last game, it was quite an iconic battle, to be honest. And Rushekha, the match commissioner for the day as well. India, they were mostly on the defensive side and they were trying to soak in all the pressure. So, Crispin Chetri, I think he said before that he's looking for experiments. So more experiments coming along. So I think India would be looking forward to keep that experimenting spirit of theirs intact. The two captain making their way to the center. India's got a new captain today, Sangeeta Basfor, one of their senior players at the toss, and it's Lyudmila Karachik of Uzbekistan as well. And as you asked, that what can you expect? Well, from Uzbekistan's perspective, I think their coach Katrina Kulbait made it very clear that they are going to go for goals as they missed out on quite a few in the last game. On the other hand, I think Crispin Chetri, he would be eyeing for that all-important victory, of course, after losing out on the last game. But apart from that, I think Crispin Chetri, over the last few months, ever since he's taken up reign, he's made it very, very clear that his bird's eye is going to be the AFC Women's Asia Cup, Australia 2026 qualifiers. So I think he will try and test out his girls before India takes yard in the big contest. So if you would ask my prediction, I would say that it's going to be a good battle, but from India, it's going to be more on the tactical side. And at the other end, for Uzbekistan, they'll be famished for goals.
Absolutely well said. 20 days until those qualifications begin. And this, of course, another test for the Indian side, having come up short against Uzbekistan in the last game. Of course, they will be looking to overcome that particular hurdle. It's not often that you play the same side twice in a few days' time, and that is the advantage here for the Indian side. They know what they can expect up against Uzbekistan. Payal, in between the sticks today, gets a start. Will be looking to make the most of it amongst the 8 changes as we kick off this second FIFA International friendly between India and Uzbekistan. We're live from Bengaluru and we're all set for what should be a cracking encounter. Let's see if the Blue Tigresses can pull one back after losing in that first game. Bit of possession to start with. India in the orange strip this afternoon, just like they were a few days ago. Uzbekistan in their blue as they try to start the first attack of the game. Bit of possessional play to start with, and quite a bit of physicality to start with as well. Nilufar coming in, barging away one of the Indian players. And it's that physicality where the Uzbekistan side will have a bit of an advantage. But of course, as I said, India have played them a few days ago, so they will expect that and a lot more, wouldn't they, Rohit?
Yeah, it goes without saying, I mean, we've all known very well that Uzbekistan, they are a very well built side in terms of physicality. And I think even in the previous encounters that India have played them, India has actually encountered this kind of physicality. And given the fact that their preceptor has already mentioned that they are going to look for goals, they're going to do everything possible in that repertoire of theirs. That's a good bit of aggressive intent there from India early on, and the entire goal was empty. So could have taken a bit longer and then released the ball. That would have meant that this attack would have had slightly more substance to it. I think the inclusion of Kartik Angamuthu to today's India's unit will actually give them that attacking leeway that they were looking forward in the midfield. Kartik Angamuthu did show her guts in that IWL, playing for East Bengal in phenomenal fashion. She was also a part of the East Bengal side that went on to win the Women's Calcutta Football League. So I think her inclusion kind of provides that extra sharpness to the Indian midfield, and also that versatility that Kartika has. Pyari Khaka from the left now. Pyari penetrating with very good intent. That's good early attacking mindset there from the Blue Tigresses, which will keep the White Wolves on their toes.
Absolutely early intent being shown by the Indian side. They did have a few chances. Soumya had a really good chance in that first half in the last game. Didn't take the shot early enough that time. But as you said, a few changes to the team already allowing them to have some more attacking fluidity, especially Kartikeya, you said, pulling all the strings. Pyari Kaka, who we know is very good moving forward too. This should be a good battle. And of course, not too many goals in the last game, just the one, which did come from a bit of wing play from the Uzbekistan side. They lose possession though. India have a bit of space down that right hand side as they look to exploit a wing themselves. Here's Soumya. Puts a first time cross in, decent delivery. Keeper comes and collects. And Maftuna, who already had an early outing, will be happy that she held on to that one. Always good to get that first bit of collection as a goalkeeper. And speaking of goal scorers, here is Dia Rakhon. Puts a cross in herself. She was the one who touched the first goal in for Uzbekistan, the only goal. And she will always be a threat moving forward. Uzbekistan with the throw in now.
Well, I think you very nicely summed up about the all important changes, considering Crispin Chetri's consistent look for development. considering the fact that he's trying to reach a new form of playing from the back, getting the all important pieces in place. It's very important that India get the right players in the mix. Another cross from the left out there. However, that was slightly haywire. Could have been better. Also, good to see Payal Basude back under the sticks, was a crucial part of Gokulam Kerala in the Indian Women's League. And Payal, she has formally shown that she is a very agile, a very versatile goalkeeper as well. Kind of switches between the eminence of a shot stopper and also a sweeping keeper as well. So this provides a lot of support to Panthu Ichanu. I mean, Panthu Ichanu has been an absolute wonder woman under the sticks for India. The fact that Payal has also been rising, well, that's a lovely chance. An opportunity for Uzbekistan. A stinging shot comes in from Durakan Khabibuleva, but Payal Basude once again excellent positioning, and a cool and calm head under the sticks allows her to on this occasion.
Your first proper chance from outside the area, and as I said, that will help Payal just settle the nerves a bit, of course, coming into the side, playing the second game, and they'll be wanting to prevent those chances. A bit of a loose ball just falling there towards the forwards from the Uzbekistan point of view. Nicely headed away there by Ranjana Chanu. Lots of changes, which also means that lots of new opportunities for the players who have taken the pitch. Just 3 holding on to their starting spots, but Uzbekistan, as I said, not changing too much. 2 different approaches for teams preparing for big qualification campaigns coming up. Uzbekistan now with a throw might be looking for a long one. No, they don't. Opportunity to cross maybe. Has been taken. Decent ball in. Very good ball in fact. But evades all of the blue shirts, and now India might have a counter-attacking opportunity, but they give possession straight back to the visitors, who are slowly but surely building their moves quite nicely. But that's won back well in the midfield by Priyadarshini, who has a very good opportunity on her hands as well. Soumya plays that through into the space, looking for Pyari Kaka, but she can't get her with that particular delivery.
What I'm really surprised to see out here today is now Crispin Chetri. He's got quite a few lethal options on the bench. He's got the likes of Lindacom Soto, who's been phenomenal in the IWL, was also a part of the international friendly against Maldives at the start of the year. Then he's also got the likes of Anju Tamang as well, who's got a lot of experience. It's going to be intriguing to see when do they come onto the pitch, because their introduction. Oh, also, let's not miss out the likes of Rimpa Haldar. I mean, Rimpa Haldar has been an absolute sensation ever since she's been a part of that Rajmata Jijabai Trophy, which was conducted in India. She was playing for West Bengal and has been absolutely brilliant. So yes, these players, they are on the rise, on the surgence, and I think Crispin Chetri obviously will have his eyes on all these young talents. Let's see what they can bring on to or into the mix when they come on. But for now, Uzbekistan still continues to be the heavily aggressive side. And now from the left, nicely laid into the stride of the captain Lyudmila Karachik. But India intercepts another long ball, and Payal Basude once again standing strong under the sticks out there. Comfortably parries away any danger that could have been lurking around on the horizon.
A decent start for both sides. Uzbekistan, of course, with a bit more confidence and flair, considering the fact that they did win the last game, created a few chances, and also it is the same starting 11, which always makes a big difference. The India side just slowly getting into a bit of the rhythm and flow that they will want to take forward in the next 90 minutes. But it's about keeping possession and getting everybody on the ball initially. They've had a bit of green space to run into, but the midfield hasn't really held on to the ball as well as they would have liked just yet. Need to include a few of those midfielders and build up play. What a wonderful evening here in Bengaluru for some football. Uzbekistan have a bit of possession. As I said, they enjoy the ball at their feet quite a bit. They are looking like a well-oiled machine as they try to strike once again. Ball through the center doesn't really work. Well read by Ranjana, who now can move forward. She has space. Pyari Khaka is ahead of her. There's also an overlapping run there. Malti Munda is there, but Ranjana goes for a cross herself. And not the best of deliveries from her. She apologizes, but that was good intent shown from her.
Yeah, I think today Crispin Chetri, he's made it very clear that India will have to look for those all important goals. I think in the last game, there were a very few attacks that India could actually essay. But today, even at the very beginning, India had a chance. They couldn't really max out the potential of that. And then Ranjana Chanu with a fine run, I think could have done better if she would have gone slightly forward and then released the ball, teeing off her teammates. As you pointed out, there was a fine overlapping run from Malati Munda on the left as well. So yes, a few positional changes too in the last game. I think Soumya Gogolot, she started on the left. Uzbekistan with another lovely cross. The danger stays alive, and the Indian defenders activating themselves in the nick of time. Another long ranger rattles the woodwork. The second ball, however, not falling for any Uzbekistan player around in the mix. A phenomenal strike there from Ergasheva. Payal Basudev did go for a full-fledged jump. And luckily, the ball was beyond the reach of that goal-scoring frame.
A great strike from Ergasheva. That would have been one for the archives, but not to be. Would have been a sensational goal. Pyari Khaka, a bit of pulling, but she gets away from the defender. She's super quick. Good delivery from her, but well met by the defense. Pyari Khaka still has it, takes a shot herself, and couldn't get it to dip. But that is a lot better from the Indian side. That's what Pyari Khaka is all about, isn't she, Rohit?
Oh, absolutely, Liam. I think in the last game, what happened is Pyari Khaka was kind of isolated. She was stranded in that attacking unit with barely any support at all. But take a look at her today. And the fact that she started off early gives her that leeway, gives her that freedom to control the tempo from the very beginning. And the fact that she's circling around, she's lingering around in the opposition half so freely without any pressure at all, gives her that freedom to take the shots as well. And that last shot, I think it had all the elements of a menace. We have seen what Pyari Khaka can pull off, not just in the internationals, in the domestics as well. So yes, she'll be trying to replicate that spirit. Once again, another chance from Uzbekistan. Well, that's a brilliant bit of work altogether. Now sets it up onto the right. Karachik with the cross. However, sends it out of that byline, resulting in a goal kick there. The pressure continues from Uzbekistan, but India today are trying to hit them back in the form of significant offensives. And that's what they want. That's what Crispin Chetri will want as well.
Oh yes, definitely. You do learn from playing the same team twice, as I said. Here comes Uzbekistan again, just cleared away. No nonsense from the Indian defense. And as I said, it's not often that you play the same opponent twice in the matter of a few days' time. And that is where, I wouldn't say it's a second chance, but it's definitely an opportunity to improve. Here comes Pyari Khaka again, but resilient defending that time by Leila. The number 21 just about managing to get that touch ahead of Pyari Khaka. And the intent is what is important from this Indian side today. As we see a lot of options on the bench there, looking on, waiting for their chance. A few of them started in the last game. And the Uzbekistan coach, Katrina Kulbait, who was happy with the performance but said that they can always improve. Ranjana Chanu with another ball in. It's pretty high. It's dealt with by the defense. And now maybe they can spur a counter. Can Uzbekistan? A bit of open space ahead of them. Long ball played into the channel. Flag does come up. It did look offside on first viewing.
Liam, what has been a significant change for India today, if you take a look at this entire formation that India has played in the last game, they were extremely deep in that final third of theirs. I mean, it's understandable that Uzbekistan can come up with a lot of attack, literally a wave of attacks. But today, what India is doing is that despite the relentless attack, they are trying to take the workload. They are tracking back when it matters. Karachik with a long ranger. And Payal Basudev with another crucial save. Once again, holding on to her own citadel like a true warrior, showcasing the boatload of experience that she's got, throwing her body to the right and ensuring the fact that Uzbekistan, no matter how belligerent, no matter how aggressive they are, they don't find that opening goal because it can influence the momentum of the game significantly. That's good goalkeeping, to be honest.
Absolutely. And if India are to keep a clean sheet, which will surely be one of their objectives today, then Payal has got to have a very good game. And so far, 15 minutes in, she's done whatever was asked of her. Crossbar also being quite friendly to the Indian side in the initial stages, but that's all part of the game. Here they are. Faikaka once again twisting, turning, trying to accelerate. Gets brought down. Another ball played in though, but the header from Priyadarshini straight to the keeper's hands. And we speak so much about the intent of the Indian side. The fact that Pyari Khaka is running at the defenders means that the defenders will be thinking twice whether to put in a tackle. They'll be backing off a bit more, and that's where a few open spaces tend to open up. Nice bit of play again here from Uzbekistan, but very well read by Ranjana Chanu. And now India can move forward again. Pyari Khaka pushed back this time round. Gets a bit of help from Kartika. Back to Pyari Khaka. Looks for a ball through. There was no space. And the Uzbek side will rebuild again. Bit of pressure now on the keeper perhaps. Oh, she took her time there. Did Maftuna. India have it again. Another shot taken, but this will go wide. Almost getting the better of the Uzbek side with that press. But as you said, that is the energy that Crispin Chetri would be quite happy with his side.
Oh, absolutely, Liam, goes without saying. I think the way Pyari Khaka has, or rather is playing, that is really impressive. She's been that one woman evolutionary force in the heart of the Indian attacking excellence. And the more she presses, if she's able to get some support from the likes of Karthika Angamuttu, the likes of Soumya Gogoloth as well coming in from the right, India might just double up on the pressure. Now another attack there from Niloufar. She's coming on all the way from the right, squares off her teammate out in the center who switched it away towards the left. Possession still stays alive for Uzbekistan. Umida plays it to her life, back to Umida again. Umida scanning the perimeter for resources. She's found a bit of help in the form of Maftuna. Maftuna gets Umida again. Umida knocks it forward, back to Umida. Umida taking her time, looking around. Kamila on the ball. Take a look at the formation that India has placed out there. Karachik on the ball. Karachik trying to square off her teammate who was on the run already. Another through ball being attempted. The Indian defenders will have to be slightly more active. Umida from the right looking for a potential cross. She's got some space. Once again, I reckon that's too heavy of a cross out there. There was support at the other end, Elvina. But by the time Elvina could get that head to that, it was a bit too high for her. Elvina had a couple of great shots in the last game. Pantu Ichanu pulling off a few critical saves to deny the presence of her. And today, Elvina failing to make the most of it so far. 18 minutes. Liam, how would you rate India's gameplay so far overall in all the departments?
Well, I think so far so good. Of course, the Uzbek side have quality moving forward, so the defense will have a lot to do. But as you said, the formation, the structure looks quite solid so far, and they won't mind the fact that the best chances have come from shots quite far outside the box, which means that the defense is pretty tight so far. Midfield acting like a good screen ahead of that defense, pushing the Uzbek players out wide, which they won't mind too much. That is nicely done. And she picks up a foul there, does Sangeeta Basfor, who's very good at moving the ball forward, carrying it in that midfield area. You can see just trying to evade that challenge and gets brought down. And they're not worrying too much about losing possession in those final thirds, trying to play those effervescent passes. If they work out, then why not? As long as you don't lose it in these sorts of areas. Right on cue, though, they do. But nothing too dangerous about that. They're asking for a handball. No, says the referee. This could work out a bit here. Priyadarshini plays it. Pyari Kaka has the ball wide. Challenge comes in, and that'll be a corner. And just giving possession away themselves, there Uzbekistan. 20 minutes in, it's a corner for India. Could they capitalize on it?
That was a very good move, to be honest, for Team India. Also, I think Uzbekistan, the defenders, haven't been at their very best. I mean, there's a lot of gap if you take a look, like where the Indian midfield is activating themselves whenever they are snatching the ball close to that midfield area, too close to that center line. They're trying to dash through. I think there's a significant gap between the Indian midfielders and the Uzbekistan defenders. It kind of tells you that the Uzbekistan defenders, they don't really want to play that high line of defense. Corner for India. Floats it in just in the nick of time. Palmed away by the Uzbekistan goalkeeper, Maftuna. Possession stays alive for India. Another cross floated in. Danger looming large at the second post, and somehow Maftuna denies India a shy at glory. The second ball as well being hammered towards the goal, but just not on target. And the captain of India, Sangeeta Basfor, showing that why she is rated so highly in the Indian ranks.
What an opportunity, firstly for Pyari Kaka, and then Sangeeta, who was quite annoyed at herself that she couldn't keep it on target. Both those women scoring against Maldives in a couple of friendlies that they played against them at the turn of the year, 6 or so months ago. But that was an incredible opportunity for the Indian side. Great ball in from Ranjana Chanu. And that should have been 1-0 perhaps, especially on the rebound, had it been kept on target. Good save nonetheless from Maftuna. She had to make herself big and get there. Pyari Kaka was about to tap that in. Pyari Kaka also getting a hat-trick in one of those games versus the Maldives. Possession given away quite cheaply there though. Almost halfway through this first half. It's anybody's game for the taking. Decent chances on both ends. But have a bit of possession now as they look to calm it down a bit. Here they come again. Decent ball through. Basfor will pick it up and clears it away.
This is really good to witness from the Indian team. I think that last ball, yes, Pyari Kaka could have gone for the trip, but then she did what was the most obvious route of attack there. Goalkeeper right in front of her, so ended up snuffing out that opportunity. Sangeeta on the ball. Sangeeta playing off another square pass towards the center. Hemam Shilki Devi, another face of experience for the Indian side. That's a mispass. India will have to avoid those mispasses here because that can cost them dearly, and we've seen quite a few of them. Another long ball onto the left there. Pyari Kaka trying to reach it out just in time, but good body shielding as well from Leila. She ensured the fact that she had allowed not even an inch to Pyari Kaka, and every single time Pyari Kaka she's gotten hold of the ball, there has been alarm bells ringing all over in the Uzbekistan defense. And someone like Pyari Kaka, who's an absolute predator inside the box, and not just that, if you give her an opportunity, if you give her that shooting lane from where she can have a shot at the goal, I think she's always going to be menacing. So yes, Uzbekistan now, as you said, Liam, at the very start of the game, I think someone who's got such a good proficiency. Another long ranger comes floating in, but Payal Basude showing that she's in firm position to get hold of that. Good looking shot there from Nilufer, but Payal absolutely unfazed by that due to her brilliant positioning.
Yes, very good positioning, which of course is expected of a goalkeeper of her level. Bit of a chance now, looking for that reverse ball towards the left hand side. That's how the goal came about in the first game for Uzbekistan. Here they are from the left wing, going for another cross, and very nicely taken there by Payal. As you said, the positioning is one thing, but actually claiming on to a ball which had a bit of a deflection on its way. It was helped on by somebody, by one of the Indian defenders, just bouncing in front of the goalkeeper. That is not the easiest of takes, but she does really well. And 25 minutes in, answering all the questions that have been asked by the Uzbekistan side, who are trying to move it along now and looking for a bit of space. Karachik with a nice turn. That's a challenge which comes in from Ranjana, who has been really good today in attack and defense. Here they come again. Zaripova plays it inwards. Now a bit of space. Perhaps looking for a cross, but that should be offside before anything else. Ergasheva just straying off, and that was a good offside trap actually from the defense, working in unison, only conceding the one goal in the last game, even though Uzbekistan had quite a few chances. So, of course, there were quite a few positives from that last matchup. If they can keep a clean sheet today, that will be something good for the Indian side.
Absolutely, I think with 10 wins from the 14 games that India and Uzbekistan have played so far, Uzbekistan is definitely being leveled as a pretty tough contender for India to brave. But then again, history and statistics don't define a particular game. I mean, statistics from the past, of course. It's that very moment. Well, the last time when India collided with Uzbekistan, it was pretty rainy and slightly cooler in Bengaluru. Today, however, there aren't any signs of rains. So, yes, it's nice, sunny, and dry in the garden city of India, and the humidity is also out there. So, that's why the drinks break. Payal Basude being dished out with a few instructions out there by the goalkeeping coach Luis Mario Aguiar. And at the other end, Crispin Chetri trying to explicate the formation to his wards out there, who has so far done a pretty phenomenal job, to be honest. I mean, of course, Uzbekistan, a higher ranked team, ranked 50 right now in the FIFA women's ranking, vis-a-vis India's 69. I think they are tactically a far superior side than India. But the fact that India is countering it in their own way with some very good support from their goalkeeper, Payal Basude, it tells volumes about the mindset that Crispin has
Yes.
very successfully instilled in the Indian ranks altogether.
Oh, yes, and that is the time where you do, thanks to the cooling break, get an opportunity to speak to the team and set them up for the rest of this first half, which has been quite a competitive one so far. Ranjana, Ranjana rather, throws that over. Uzbekistan tried to reclaim possession, and they do quite easily. Falls to Zarina. And with a few minutes to go in this first half, I think both sides would, or both managers would probably ask their sides to keep it the same, apart from losing possession here and there. As one of the players goes down, looks like it's Kudatova who's down. Might need a bit of treatment. So, as I said, don't want to lose possession in those areas of the field where you can give your opponent a few chances. And apart from that, I think Uzbekistan moving the ball along nicely, creating a few chances. India, whenever they do have a chance, they're doing well. And there they give possession away again. Soumya, in fact, Sangeeta had to make a foul from behind to prevent the shot from being taken, and this opens up a nice free kick opportunity for Uzbekistan. Ranjana, for the first time, making a bit of a mistake, playing the ball inwards instead of out. And before the shot could be taken by Ilvina, there was a foul from Sangeeta Basfor. So this is a fantastic opportunity for Uzbekistan. 3 people standing over it, but it looks like it will be the skipper, Karachik, to take it. Payal Basude has to get this wall correct. Looks like she wants 4 in the wall. Might just get another. This is a grand opportunity for Uzbekistan. Stands over it. Looking for the first goal of the game. Here's Karachik. Goes straight into the wall. Has another shot. Smashes it over the top. That was a brave wall. Someone has stayed down. Might be Ranjana Chanu herself. But that was a good opportunity, wasn't it?
Oh, it certainly was. From just outside the edge of the box, possibly the ball went on to hit the back of the head out there. We'll have to take a look. A 4-woman wall that was being posted. Yeah, straight down. Yeah, it looks like it's Tokcha Martina who's actually taken the hit out there. And discussion still going on, a bit of medical treatment being given to Martina. Martina was also a part of the recently concluded Indian Women's League, and she did play a very phenomenal role as well for her team. For now, India, what they have done so far, yes, there have been a few chinks in their armor, and that is exactly what has allowed Uzbekistan to time and time again probe the solidity of Payal under the sticks. But Payal has also come up with a pretty solid riposte, asking them to take their very best, and she's gonna stall them all. She's been the Iron Lady under the sticks so far for India. And on the other hand, if you take a look at Pyari Khaka has been absolutely instrumental in terms of India's attacking flair so far. And the presence of Pyari Khaka has kind of pushed Uzbekistan back on a few occasions as well. They'll have to be careful about this playing from the back strategy, because with the kind of high press that Uzbekistan is all about, Pyari Khaka once again on the ball trying to get hold of it. And a bit of a hefty push out there for the player who was trying to body shield, and the referee making it very clear the elbow push was more substantial than was needed. And Leila going down on the ground, extracting a free kick for her team.
It's all about the pressure that you're building on. You saw India with a decent bit of pressure early on the goalkeeper. That is how Uzbekistan themselves are winning the ball back in the midfield too. So this game eventually could be, I wouldn't say decided on who puts more pressure on the opponents, but at least has that intent. That's always important. Here come Uzbekistan down the left again. That reverse ball is what allowed them to score that first goal, or the only goal rather, in the first game. That's something that India might be slightly wary of, so they're not allowing those crosses to come in first time at least. Trying to open out a bit of a different angle. Pyari Khaka dropping back and trying to defend. Dinked ball in. Easy for Payal. Zaripova just looking for someone, waiting for a run, but that ball was a little too deep for the run of Karachik, who should have done better with that free kick. She'll be thinking that. India trying to play out from the back again. This time just beyond Ranjana. Words of encouragement from Crispin Chetri. And as we've alluded to before, it's all about that qualification campaign which starts in around 20 days or so. And the fact that they have a lot of time together before that qualification campaign, playing a few friendlies against a really good side, will really help the Indian side. Ranjana needs to clear this, gives possession away again. But then Uzbekistan lose it themselves. Here they come down the right hand side. Ergasheva holds on. Doesn't cross it first time. Zaripova. This is calm stuff from Uzbekistan. Holding on to the ball as much as they can. And now India can move forward with it. That's a decent ball. but just beyond Pyari Kaka. Shape is good so far. The structure from the defense quite intact, Rohit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have so far withstood the incessant attacking barrage of Uzbekistan, and that is very, very important despite the relentless aggressive infringements from the Uzbeks. Indian rearguard has stood tall, the Indian rearguard has soaked it all in, and they have just closed down when it mattered the most. All they need to take care of are those passes. Again, a bit of a mispass there from Uzbekistan as well. Both the sides, I think, the passing accuracy in no matter whichsoever part of the ground has been slightly questionable, and both the teams have kind of failed to capitalize on that. India has had their fair shares of chances trying to make the most of the mispasses of Uzbekistan. Katrina, she's keeping a very keen eye, a very keen tab on affairs of a women so far. Another good knuckle ball in an attempt to try and play it forward. That was a very good run and a very timely release as well from the captain, Lyudmila Karachik, trying to get that cross in perspective. However, it kind of went a bit too haywire, and as you can see that Crispin Chetri making it very clear, keep the ball to you for a while. I mean, don't just release it straight away. And I think that is also important, the knowledge of when to release the ball, when to keep it with you, when to go for that all important pass. I think all of that makes a significant bit of difference, isn't it, Liam? That's another decent ball, but nicely repelled away by India.
Oh yes, for sure. It's the little things that matter in a game of football. 10 minutes to play. You don't want to lose possession. You've got a bit of tempo to the game as it is. But India haven't attacked in a while. That is good physicality once again from Nilufer Kudratova. Just pushing the Indians back, and this is what coach was saying. Just keep a bit of the ball. This time going for a long one. Tokcha Martina, and now that is what we can hear again from those mics on the sidelines, that you've got to keep the ball a bit. That's what the coach wants right now. Of course, they don't want to put too much pressure on themselves, building up from the back. So these are the things that you will work on as a team, and that's why these friendlies are so important before you go into those qualification matches. And this gives Crispin Chetri an idea of what he wants from the side. As we see Uzbekistan open up a lot of space down the right hand side. Cross was quite delayed, and now finds another teammate on the left hand side. Another delivery headed away quite nicely. Priyadarshani goes for the header, comes all the way back to Karthika, who keeps the ball. But Uzbekistan have it again. India unable to clear it out at that point. Now they do. Now they have a bit of space. Soumya cuts inside, does really well. Plays it through for Pyari Kaka, who will try to use her speed. Challenge comes in. Pyari Kaka still has the ball though. Will she look to cross? No, she won't. Eventually gets a corner out of it, and that was impressive from India. Took a while to get going, but once they did, Pyari Kaka doing the job, getting at least a set piece and allowing the team to move up now and try and attack from this opportunity, Rohit.
Once again, that small piece of knowledge, I think, what Crispin was talking all about. I mean, just release the ball in time. Don't release it that early. Because against a team like Uzbekistan, who are faster than India is, ideally what happens is the moment you start releasing the ball is you start playing into Uzbekistan's tempo. And you wouldn't want that. You would like that tempo to be of your setting. A lovely corner floated in by Ranjana Chanu. Unfortunately, that could have been better. No curl on it whatsoever. 38 minutes on, and two corners of the game so far, and both of them has gone in the way of the Blue Tigresses. So that would possibly tell you that yes, India has shown intent. Unlike last game, they have been brave enough to try and venture into the opposition half. I think now they need to get the shorter things, like the quicker things in perspective. For example, a bit more accuracy in their passing, the positioning of the attackers as well. Sangeeta Vaspor does well to quickly twirl around and play it back to Silky. Silky plays it to Ranjana Chanu onto her left. Ranjana now pushing it further forward, back to Ranjana again. Ranjana has been pretty solid as well. A few moments ago, she went down, received a bit of treatment, and was back on her feet, back to Payal. Taking her time now, Payal trying to explore the right. She's got touch on Martina. Martina to Silky. Silky scanning the perimeter for more numbers. She's found Pyari dropping deep. Kartikanga Muthu trying to wriggle one through. Not to be, however. Possession falls back for Uzbekistan. And just take a look at how much time Uzbekistan is taking before playing the ball. And this is exactly what the Indian gaffer is trying to point out. A bit of an injury concern there. Referee blowing the whistle, stopping play, so that a bit of medical attention can be drawn towards the play. Well, still on the attention part there, still getting the treatment just to ensure that everything is absolutely fine. The Indian players as well trying to administer a bit of fluids into their system, just keeping themselves in the game, because again, when you're playing 90 minutes, you do run the risk of the muscle pulls, particularly after that 60-minute mark. So it's very, very critical that you have the necessary fluids, have the necessary liquids in your system, so that you can keep on running in for those enduring 90 minutes. And yes, a bit of a hobble out there. We are not really sure whether she'll return to action. Zarina Mamatkarimova. Let's just hope that she is all right and she'll be back in action shortly enough, being helped by her medico out there. We could see Dilnora warming up, and we resume action there with that drop kick. Uzbekistan resumes action with a bit of a short pass. There, of course, it goes without saying that Uzbekistan are desperate to try and secure a victory again and get more goals for themselves. Something that Katrina made it
Substitutions
very clear.
for Uzbekistan. 16
Another
number
cross
out.
there floated in. Looks like a change is coming up. So, in all likelihood, Zarina wouldn't be playing any more part in this game, and it is going to be Dilnora making her way to the center.
A bit of possession now for the Indian side, though. There are runners beyond. Got to hold on to that ball a bit more before Pyari Kaka makes a run, because she is pretty quick, but that pass was a little too early for Pyari Kaka's liking. One thing I must say about this game is that the pace at which the sides are playing. Looks like there's a change on the cards here for Uzbekistan. Turdibeva will be coming on, replacing Zarina. Lots of space here for Uzbekistan again. Kudatova cut inside, the ball is in the best. And they haven't been at their attacking best as compared to that first game. Uzbekistan, time for a change. As I said, Zarina is off. Feruza is on. So the first change of the game we've seen. Here come the Indian side again, just losing possession. Malti Munda, who has been pretty active on that left-hand side, just with a loose touch. A few minutes to go. India will want to hold on till half-time. Maybe have a few attacking changes in that second half. As Crispin Chetri said, he wants to give as many players a game as possible. Let's see if that will happen. But for now, defensively, they've been pretty good. Here they are. They win the ball back again. Soumya cuts inside beautifully, plays it towards Pyari Kaka, who has the ball, releases first time towards Priyadarshini, and the defense just gets in its way. But that would have been a nice move again, just lacking that final bit of intensity. in the attacking third.
Warning signs for both the teams whenever they have been at the end of some defensive duties altogether. Uzbekistan hasn't been that great in defense either. Of course, their goalkeeper Maftuna has played an excellent role under the sticks, and similarly, Payal Basude has come up clutch. Lyudmila Karachik on the ball there from the left. Lyudmila looking for a bit of support. Does she get that help? Goes for that long ranger, and that was a sensational delivery. An extended boot of Durakan Khabibuleva, one of the key sharpshooters of Uzbekistan. If she would have got a boot to that, that ball was certainly going in. There was no way that Payal Basude could have stalled that. And this is why Uzbekistan is so dangerous. You cannot allow them the space to get those crosses in play. Another ball, and now India, they have got some space as well ahead of them. Malati Munda setting it off towards the left. 3 minutes of additional time after 45 minutes of regulation time being played so far. Things are getting a bit too heated now at both ends. A decent box-to-box action, even though it's Uzbekistan who has been predominantly the finer side of the two. But India, they are trying to hit back as much as possible. They are trying to amplify that attacking quotient of theirs. Pyari Khaka on the ball. Pyari plays it back. Finds Malati. Malati loses out possession. That is some exquisite footwork there from Nilufa. And Nilufa still stays on the ball. Plays it to Karachik to her left. Karachik trying to take position. Another long hit. However, that had a bit of an elevation to it. And by the time the ball could dip, it's already past the danger range. India will be breathing a massive sigh of reprieve towards the end of the first half.
Absolutely great work initially from Nilufar, and Ilvina took a good strike. Just couldn't keep it under the crossbar. But here comes Uzbekistan once again. Another shot from a distance. This one bounces in front of Payal, but she has it under control. She calms things down, and this is exactly what the Indian side will be happy about. Ball was fizzed in quite a bit there by Argasheva, who has taken quite a few nice shots from a distance. But the shooting from far, that is something that India will be trying to change from their opponent's point of view. You've got to involve the midfield and maybe stop those shots, because eventually one rocket might just find its way into the top right corner. Lovely ball. A nice crossfield ball down the right-hand side. Here comes Soumya. She crosses it. Pyari Khaka. She rose quite high, but just couldn't get enough purchase on the header. Wonderful move. And that's where that long ball can really make a difference. Ranjana loses possession, and now Uzbekistan themselves have a great counter-attacking opportunity. Karachik plays it wide. Too wide maybe. For Diarakon, who scored in the last game, sets it up. Another shooting opportunity. It's over the top this time from Nilufar. End-to-end stuff. All the women running their socks off, but eventually chances on both ends, but it's still 0-0.
It was an incredible jump from Pyari Khaka at the other end. Of course, I mean, that was her showing her athleticism. And then very shortly, Uzbekistan, they were fearless. They ventured forth. And again, that mispass there, that loose pass from Ranjana Chanu is what proved to be extremely costly. This is exactly what Crispin Chetri has been saying all along. And with this, we come to the end of the first half. India definitely had their fair shares of challenges. There were wax and veins. But eventually, at the end of the first half, as things stand, both the teams are still to find their goal scoring mark. India 0, Uzbekistan 0. Both the teams will have to come off the shelf once again in the second half to try and find out the opener. But tactically speaking, I think Uzbekistan, they showed that why they are rated so highly in the Asian ranks as well. And India also coming up with a solid counterblast. time and time again, with Pyari Khaka showing why she is one of the best strikers in the Indian women's footballing division. However, we'll have lots to talk about in the second half. Of course, we'll see a few changes coming on in the second half. Uzbekistan had to come in with a forced change where they introduced the proficient striker Faruza Turbidova, or rather Tudibova, apologies. But apart from that, India still to get a change in place. But as things stand, it is all fair and square here at the Patagonia Dravid Center of Excellence. We'll take a quick look at the highlights of the first half. India started off well, came in with a decent floater, straight into the hands of Maftuna. And then Uzbekistan as well, trying their luck from those long rangers, but Payal Basude standing tall under the sticks. There was a fine bit of effort as well. Another long ranger from India. And then Sangeeta Basford trying to make the most of that run, trying to dodge past, but not to be. And then Ranjana Chanu with that crucial cross. This was the best chance that has fallen at India's feet. However, at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. And definitely a few good tests for Payal Basude and the opposition goalkeeper Maftuna. And a few lures as well. That was a free kick just outside the box. And it wasn't enough. Then a free kick from Karachik went straight into the Indian wall. And a bit of a hit out there as well. Then Pyari Khaka once again pressing hard on the accelerator, pushing Uzbekistan custodian into a bit of a challenge. That was a sensational ball from Lyudmila Karachik, another long ranger. Time and time again, both the sides, they were not shy from trying to take their chances. All the long rangers coming in, the trigger being pulled over and over again, and yet no one hit the bullseye at the end of the first 45 minutes. A decent 45 minutes of football and still a lot to talk about in the second. A quick look at the numbers of the first half. 48% ball possession for India, 52 for Uzbekistan. 5 shots from India, one of them on target. 8 from Uzbekistan, 5 of them on target. Payal Basude pretty busy under the sticks, 5 saves for her. A couple of corners for India, a couple of fouls committed by India vis-a-vis Uzbekistan, 1. And no cards until now. With that being said, me, Rohit, and my co-commentator Liam will take a short breather and we'll be back to you shortly enough after the first half. Stay tuned, everyone.
Welcome back to Live Action. We're on the Indian Football YouTube channel. It's still 0-0 between India and Uzbekistan. A couple of chances on either end, and now a couple of changes perhaps on either end,
Jersey number 10 out. 19 in.
as Pyari Khaka, who was pretty good throughout that first half, tried quite a bit to get that goal, had a couple of chances too, is replaced by Linda Com, and Uzbekistan already made one change before halftime. We're all set and ready as Firuza came on for Zarina a few moments before halftime. So one change apiece. No goal so far, but 45 minutes remaining as India and Uzbekistan kick off the final 45 of what has been such a competitive first game and now second game as well. Let's see who can take the plaudits home. Uzbekistan now attacking from right to left. They are in the blue strip. Quite a few shots from a distance in that first half, but none of them beating Payal Basude, who has been really good starting this game. Another shot comes in from a distance. It was Ergasheva who took those long rangers, struck the woodwork as well, but this time round tries to zip the ball through. If there was a bit of water on the surface, it would definitely be tough for the keeper, but Payal has done well. Interesting to see the change that has been made though. Parikaka is off for Linda Com, and as my co-commentator Rohit joins me as well in the com box, what do you make of that change, Rohit?
Well, I really love to see Linda and Pyari Kaka together. But then I think what Crispin Chetri wants to do is she wants to keep that, or rather, he wants to keep that formation of his intact. He's not willing to tinker with the formation. And Pyari Kaka, I think he made it very clear at the start of the game, at the start of these two friendlies as well, that India will be more focused on development. India will be more focused on experimentation rather than going for the results. So I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to keep that formation intact. He's trying to keep the style of play intact, and he's trying to test out his players on the same principle. So that's the only explanation that can come, because Pyari Kaka was absolutely brilliant in the first half. So we would have expected that Pyari Kaka should have continued in the second. But this change, of course, that's another lovely ball. Danger looming large for India. But they were quick to get their danger lines cleared as well. That is alert and active defending there from the women in blue. And that's what you would love to see over and over again. Another cross floated in, pile out of a line, missed the flight of the ball completely. But once again, the defenders were pretty alert, and thereby no danger befalling India. So yes, but as you asked, Liam, what can I make of this change? I would think that India would like to keep that same strategy in place while deploying new superstars to try and add a bit of sheen to that attacking unit of theirs.
Absolutely. Haven't been able to score against Uzbekistan just yet. That's a lovely turn. Beautiful ball into the space. Here's a chance in behind the defense. Chance to shoot. Fantastic shot. And that is 1-0 to Uzbekistan. We spoke about attacking flair, and Nilufar Kudratova cutting inside and smashing that pass by Basude, who had no chance. They were Rakhon initially with a lovely turn, and the celebrations are underway for Uzbekistan. Beautiful turn and ball into the space, but then she cut inside and onto her left foot, which she usually does. This time catching Payal Basude off guard, and what a way to open the proceedings, Rohit.
Yeah, absolutely. Ranjana Chanu, she was slightly slow, and that is exactly what allowed Nilufar Kudratova to get into position, open up that shooting lane, and then eventually blaze one beyond the reach of Payal Basude. And that is why, they say that being a goalkeeper is possibly the toughest job on the field. And that is because no matter how many saves you pull off, unless you get the necessary support from your teammates, all of it eventually goes in vain. And that's exactly what we have seen. Payal Basudeshi has been an absolute Fort Knox in India's citadel, but then once again lacking support from her defenders, lacking that relaying football and the communication as well, what has proved to be too costly. Just the kind of start that Uzbekistan would have anticipated to that second half of theirs. They have gotten that all important goal. Once again, Nilufar, the goal scorer, she's on the rise out there from that right. Sangeeta Basfor quick to close her down, not willing to allow any space at all to her counterparts, and that is the exact mindset, that is the exact body language that should be reflected by her teammates as well. Uzbekistan once again nicely shaping up from the left. Lyudmila Karachik, she's got some space ahead of her, pushes it out to her teammate. Cross comes floating in from the left, another header. Payal Basudev was caught off guard there. Thankfully, the ball was not on target, or else it could have been that insurance goal as well for Uzbekistan.
What a delightful cross from Zoirova. That should have been goal number 2. Here they come again. Relentless stuff from Uzbekistan. Another turn, another shot, this time blocked by one of the Indian defenders. That could have been finished by Diora Khan, who scored in that first game. This one a slightly tougher chance. Nice header. Was just guided wide though. But Uzbekistan have really turned it on. And here they come again down the left-hand side. Karachik gets past Somya. Uses that left foot to cross. Very well dealt with by Martina. They need to clear their lines. Or are they trying to play out from the back? They are. But they lose possession again. Zoirova picks it back up. Ergasheva is recycling it. Moving along really nicely here, Uzbekistan. Lovely return ball. Another shot which is over the top. And this will give the Indian side a bit of a chance to just calm things down. Oh, actually not. They take the goal kick pretty quickly. Won't take no for an answer. They won't rest when it's just a 1-0 deficit. They've got to try and fight back. Maybe this is the kind of impetus that the Indian side needs to get back into this game, attack a bit more, but they've lost possession. Uzbekistan have a bit of space. Chance to shoot. And a wonderful save by Payal Basudev. Down to her right, making sure that there's only a 1-0 deficit to chase. Diora Khan with the shot. She is very good on that turn. But Payal was even better.
Corner quickly taken by Lyudmila Karachik. Back to Karachik again. Karachik trying to take that outside turn there. Floats the ball in with precision. The Indian defenders now will have to figure out that what is it that they want to do here. Do they want to play the safe brand of football, or do they still want to continue playing from the back? That's a lovely ball forward and an exceptional defensive clearance as well from Elvina. That is what clarity is all about. Uzbekistan knows very well that they have got a bit of a high line in place, so there's no point of playing it from the back. They will be clearing their lines. A bit of an injury concern there for Kamila Zaripova, who was on the ground. We'll take a look at that. Was a sensational release and a phenomenal run all the way from the back. Serto Lindacom trying to get hold of the ball, but a very strong bit of defense out there from Kamila. And the medical treatment goes on. I think, Liam, right now the key question for the Indian players would be that do they actually allow Uzbekistan to run them over? I mean, do they get deep into that defensive third of theirs instead of what they were doing in the first half? In the first half, despite the attacking intensity of Uzbekistan, India, they ensured the fact that every single time they had the ball at their feet, they were going all guns blazing. But for now, somehow or the other, they have got slightly more defensive. And whenever they are getting the ball in that defensive third of theirs, they are trying to play those small passes which so far hasn't been working for them because of that high press of Uzbekistan. Do you think it's time for India to try and utilize this iconic statement that says offense is the best defense?
Well, I think so because they surely showed in the first half that they can match the Uzbek team attack for attack. We saw a few moments in the game where it was one end of the field to the other. Just recently, Lindacom almost had a chance to get through on goal. So they are the best when they are moving forward, this Indian side. And Uzbekistan, as you rightfully pointed out, have pushed up a bit, have pressed that Indian defense a little bit harder in this second half, and that's how they aren't being able to play out from the back. So sometimes maybe the option of playing out from the back doesn't work out, and the long ball comes into play, just like Uzbekistan have just done right on cue. So that's something maybe that the Indian side can look towards. But nonetheless, there is still a lot of time to go. They've got to make sure not to concede because the Uzbek side are looking very fiery in attack. Here they go again, another shot, this time wide off the goal. Ilvina trying to shoot. Quite a few opportunities conjured up in the first 10 minutes of this second half. But you have to say that India, whenever they move forward, look good. It's just that they have to do it a lot more often than they have. And you get the feeling that if Linda Com had a few touches before that chance came towards her, maybe she would have been on the ball a little quicker. Of course, she is fresh, but it's not easy as an attacking player, as a striker, to just come on and get straight into the game with all its pace and its intensity. Look at the way the Uzbek players are moving it around. Here they come again. Karachik down the left. Good defensive pressure there from Kiran. But Uzbekistan have space again. And then cleared away by Soumya. So lots of pressure mounting from the side in blue, but it's still anybody's game as long as India can hold on for a bit, and you never know, on the counter they could get an attack going. Nicely done by Martina there.
A lovely bit of off the ball movement. We can see quite a few supporters as well. They've turned up at the Padukan Dravid Center for Excellence in Bengaluru. I think it also tells you that the growing popularity of Indian women's football, that is very, very important. The support that these young girls receive, it will inspire generations to come. Of course, it goes without saying they are missing out on few of a critical players of their own, the likes of Bala Devi, the likes of Ashalata Devi. They are not a part of this team, but they will of course be coming in. Another corner out there, a bit of an unforced error there from India, allowing Uzbekistan to have a shy at goal. Lyudmila Karachik, she's been quite the leader in the Uzbekistan ranks. Karachik floats it in, eludes everyone in the process, and eventually the one trying to trap it had a bit of an awkward bounce, couldn't really make the most of it. It's going to be a goal kick in favor of India. And once again, they prefer playing from the back. Uzbekistan figuring it out. They are trying to press that accelerator. That's a lovely ball. Linda Comserto from the right will need some assistance there. Linda finds help. Once again, trying to sneak the ball through. Decent effort by Priyadarshini. Indians now turning up in numbers. Soumya and Kartika. They've got a very good chemistry brewing between them. We've seen that in the IWL. Still with Kartika. Kartika pushes it back. And the attack, the intent, the urgency to try and score that equalizer, all of it fizzles away in oblivion. But India, once again, a missed pass. India really needs to amp up that accuracy on those passes. Soumya on the ball from the right. Soumya will need help. Help arrives. Another ball through the center. That's a lovely ball. Linda Comserto cuts in. Will Linda go for that shot? That's a good forward release being attempted. But the timing on that release wasn't right, and looks like it's going to be a couple of changes for India.
16 in.
India will be bringing in the likes of another forward, Manisha, and also Rimpa Haldar. It's going to be interesting. Rimpa's possibly going to slot in place of Soumya on the wings. Rimpa, a very versatile player, can play an excellent winger. But how does Manisha slot in this entire equation? That's going to be pretty intriguing, Liam.
Oh yes, definitely. Good to see some fresh legs coming on. It's been a very hard-working shift from all the players in both sides, especially Soumya running up and down quite a bit. Maltimunda is the other one being taken off in place of Manisha. So a few changes, a few maybe a change in system as well from Crispin Chetri's point of view. We will take a look at that. Here she comes, Rimpa Haldar with a cross in. Very good delivery, but the ball has been nudged wide. Priya Darshini had a bit of a free header. She leapt really nicely, and that's what Rimpa Haldar is all about. As she comes on, injects the game with intent and pace, puts a good ball into the box, and if only Manisha got on the end of that. She is a prolific finisher when she gets the chance. Priyadarshini, on the other hand, a bit of a midfielder who hasn't scored too many, but she would be quite disappointing, quite disappointed. I beg your pardon, missing that one. A grand opportunity, and it almost paid off for Crispin Chetri there, Rohit, within a few seconds.
Oh, absolutely. I think definitely he's got his eyes on this game, and more importantly, Crispin is a very efficient game reader. So he knows which changes to incorporate just on cue when India needed someone to come out and deliver that payload. Rimpa Haldar, I think the reason Rimpa is out in the center to get for that speed, another shot being attempted, blocked away by the Indian defenders. They don't want to give any space to Uzbekistan at all. Uzbekistan still looking for that shooting lane. India keeps on padding it away over and over again, and finally the referee blowing the whistle. A bit of an injury concern there for Priyadarshini. Priyadarshini has been pretty busy in the defense and finally gets a bit of treatment out there. And also, Cha Min-ji, the referee, I think she's really controlled the game with an iron fist and yet with a very wonderful smile on her face. I think that is what makes it easy for the players as well. You know, they get to express themselves to the referee. Both the coaches, pretty contrasting emotions in the dugouts. I think Katrina Kulbai, she's very happy with how things have proceeded on the other end. Crispin Chetri, still looking for that all important equalizer, still looking to restore parity.
Oh yes, they've got to keep looking for it. 1-0, as we know, having called quite a few games and watched for a long time. We know that one goal is never enough. Uzbekistan know that as well. But with this game hanging in the balance, the second goal, of course, is really important. If India can get it, then anything can be possible. But if Uzbekistan get it, then as you said, it might be game over. Here they come again. Just a bit of a loose pass, but very well read there by Kartika, the midfield engine. Rimpa Haldar, look at the pace that she's showing. Linda Com couldn't hold up the play a bit there. And it's great to see that Crispin Chetri has made these changes early. Sometimes a few strikers get 10-15 minutes to play. That's not enough sometimes. Lovely ball through. This could be the chance for Uzbekistan. Great save by Payal. But before that, the offside flag was raised. But either ways, coming to the aid of a defense who at this point used the offside trap quite well. There you see, lovely reverse ball there from Shoimova, but a great save from Payal. So just getting back to that substitution, Rimpa has time, and that is of the essence. Manisha as well. We know how impressive they can be. Here's Manisha herself. Carries it forward, looks for the pass, a bit of a scuffed delivery. Rimpa looking for the layoff there towards Linda Com, who has it herself. Plays it wide to Rimpa again. Combining quite a bit now. The three substitutes. But a bit of a trip there. And Uzbekistan can move it forward. Great defensive work by Zoirova to win it back for the visitors.
Another long ball there, all the way to Payal Basude, who's just pulled off a very crucial save a few moments ago. I think Payal's presence under the sticks have been equally fascinating, like Pantoy Chanu, and this kind of tells you that India's goalkeeping future really looks secured. The likes of Payal Basude, the likes of Pantoy Chanu. Also, let's not forget the presence of Monalisa Devi as well in the reserves. So yes, they've got quite a few names. Neha, who's not a part of the squad this year. India's custodians out there looks pretty promising, and they are still trying to embrace a new style of football. But again, they will need time to get themselves up and running. Crispin Chetri will need a bit of a longer duration as well in order to try and instill that attacking mindset. They'll have to figure out because, as we say, Liam, I think it's very important to have a backup plan, which you were just pointing out. Not always will playing from the back work. You have to figure it out opponent by opponent, game by game, because which brand of football your opposition is interested in playing should be the one dictating how you want to play the game, how you want to counter that. Another fine ball through that center, trying to dash forward. Oh, that's not the best of places to commit a foul there. The referee quickly laying down the law. It was a very gentle clip, but then at times those clip, it depends on the intent of the opposition. That did she have a clear shy at goal? We'll take a look. Nicely created that. Actually, she did. If she would have gotten clear on the ball, she was definitely going for the shot. Priyadarshini coming in with that all important tackle there, resulting in a free kick. A glorious chance for Uzbekistan to try and get that insurance goal. Once again, they've got the likes of Lyudmila Karachik on the free kick. Let's see if the captain can make this count. The last one took a deflection off the wall and came back. Karachik lets it slide. There comes the shot once again into the wall. The second ball attempted by Karachik to try and make it goal bound. However, misses out on that opportunity. And Sangeeta Basford, taking a blow to the gut, goes down on her feet. Will need a bit of treatment.
Yeah, the free kicks need to be a little better from the Uzbekistan point of view. This time Karachik leaving it, smashed straight into the wall, who does its job for the second time of asking. Feruza, who came on as a substitute in that first half, taking that shot and going for power instead of going over the wall and going for a bit of placement. You need a mix of both when you're taking a free kick. A couple of changes on the cards here. Kikmatova comes on. Ergasheva is off. She's had a really good game. Came close to scoring in that first half. Mamatkulova comes on. And Ludmila Karachik, the skipper, is off. So that is another interesting change from Katrina Kulbaite, and a couple of fresh legs on for Uzbekistan. So chances for the substitutes, as now Sangeeta Basford will probably come back on. They need the skipper to continue the game. Halfway through the second half, it's still just 1-0 to Uzbekistan. Can it be a repeat of the result of the first game? Let's see if that will be the case. We'll find out in the next few minutes. But the attacking intent from India has really improved, especially with those changes. That's what the substitutions are all about, getting a fresh perspective. And this will give Crispin Chetri a really good idea. He's played virtually two different sides in the games, 1 and 2 against Uzbekistan. So he will understand what he wants out of which set of players. And as you said, a few notable names are missing as well. So once you're back to, I wouldn't say full strength, this is also a very good strength squad, then you will have a few more options. So spoiled for choice, and that is a blessing. Sometimes the fact that you can field two really good 11s is something that shows that there is positivity moving forward for Indian women's football, and hopefully the results will come as well.
Okay, absolutely. Hopefully, the results will come in as well. And of course, if India can secure a goal out here in the form of an equalizer, I think the Indian management is going to be pretty happy because a team like Uzbekistan, they kind of bring in a similar reflection to that of India's counterparts in the AFC Women's Asian Cup Australia 2026 qualifiers. If India will be up against the likes of Iran, Thailand, Mongolia, who are pretty well built, who are pretty fast in that attacking pursuit of theirs. Timor Leste, of course, they are more tactical, so they try and play those passes amongst themselves instead of preferring for speed. So India have got quite a few contrasting oppositions in the upcoming qualifiers. So I think playing against Uzbekistan is where they get tested for speed as well. That's another fine forward release. Uzbekistan once again on the prowl from the left. Omida looking for support, and India comes in with a crucial defensive intervention there, interceding the ball at the expense of a corner. Time and time again, Uzbekistan's attacking flair has been botched by India's defensive intervention. India hasn't been too rosy in terms of that defensive unit of theirs, but yes, in whatsoever ragged way it has been possible, India has ensured the fact that they are getting the job done. Another good setup. A fine ball floated in, and another brilliant header to get the ball out of the danger zone. That is what India will want to keep on doing. That's a tuck from the back, and definitely the referee will be blowing the whistle, awarding a free kick for India. It was Manisha going down. That's a good part of the game for India. They are at least trying to retaliate instead of very submissively
Substitution
soak
for
in all the
India.
pressure from the
Jersey number
Uzbeks.
13 out, 2 in, 12 out, 18 in.
A couple of changes on the cards now. Anju Tamang is on, as well as Sweetie Devi. Priyadarshini is off. Quite a bit of running in that midfield for her, as well as Tokcha Martina, who's been really good in the center of defense, made some crucial interceptions and blocks, and quite a few changes. Of course, in the international friendlies, you can make quite a few and get as many players a bit of game time as you want. Crispin Chetri allowing a lot of his players to just get a feel of this game. Still 18 minutes to go though. One chance, that is what India would want. Uzbekistan have had quite a few. They've only been able to breach the Indian defense once in the last game and once in this one. So, in terms of defensive work, India have done pretty well. It was a really good goal that they conceded. Not much you could do about that. That happens. Here's Rimpa. Plays it through, gets it back. That's a lovely little 1-2 between her and Anju. Rimpa crosses, but there's too much pace on that one. Great move, but that final ball just a bit too hard for Manisha to get on the end of it. But Anju Tamang also, as she's come on, has affected the game in a positive way. So whoever's coming on, Rohit, is doing really well.
Yeah, I think the message is very clear from the dressing room that you're out there with a particular role assigned to you. And I've said this before, if a player has got clarity about what is it that is exactly expected of hers, that outlook on the game completely changes. So that clarity for a player is very, very important. Assigning that particular role, assigning that particular onus to an individual is what completely changes the game, because when all your 11 players, they know their role, that's another fine forward release and a very good defending as well from India. They were quick to not allow any space at all. They were quick to just scoop it out off the park at the expense of a throw in, buy a few more seconds for their players to track back. and try and crowd out that defensive third. Uzbekistan, however, keeps the threats alive, and a bit of a heavy chip out there. So yes, what I was talking about is, like, I think Crispin Chetri has made a few things very, very clear. That the ones who have come on, if you take a look, that they are moving a lot quicker and they are kind of aware of what are the expectations. That's another fine release. And once again, Sweetie Devi, she was quick to pounce upon that ball. She's another senior player, was on the bench for a long time, and the fact that now she's come on, she's going to be a crucial part of this Indian side. And the remaining 15 to 16 minutes should play a very critical role in determining the fate of this game. How would you rate the changes and the timing of them, Liam, so far from Crispin Chetri and also from Katrina Kulbai?
I think they've both done really well, not only in this game but over the course of both these matches. And the opposition that has been selected is also great. As we have another chance, shot is taken, lovely collection again by Payal Basure, cutting inside and taking a shot on her right foot this time. Nilufar Kudratova can shoot with both feet. She cuts in from left and right, never goes out though. She is a side back's nightmare. Nicely taken by Payal, who gets a bit of treatment. And just to answer your question, Rohit, I think the substitutions from Crispin Chetri have been really good because, as I've said, whoever's come on has affected the game in a positive manner. And that shows that the squad is hungry. When you have a big squad, everybody understands that not all players can play at once, of course. They're all professionals. But whenever they do get that chance, they are showing it. Even not only the substitutions, but the changes that have been made. The fact that Payal has come in and started this game, but she didn't play the last one, and she's performed well, and the rest of the team too. So those are positives. And from Katrina Kulbait's point of view, I think the fact that she knows her starting 11, she knows that's her best squad to put out, and then she has a plan for the substitutes. I think that is important as well, because you need to know your strengths. So from both teams' point of view, I think the managers, the coaches have had a really good couple of games. And India, who played Maldives earlier on in the year, Maldives still um, trying to get into a bit of form. So it was a 14-0 victory and 11-1 victory. But this time, these close encounters really helped. Both these sides had a close game versus Jordan as well previously in the year. So that also helps. And I think 20 odd days left for that AFC qualification campaign. There's only positives that you can take forward. Of course, if the results can go the Indian side's way, then that would be better. But I think there are only positives to look forward to. Here's Rimpa, one of the substitutes we were talking about. Opportunity just missed there. Not the best of balls from Kartika, who has still maintained her position in that midfield along with Somya. That's a nice ball towards the left-hand side for Uzbekistan. Lovely first-time delivery. The idea was correct, but Payal read it early and was just ahead of their Akon.
Sweetie Devi on the ball, and ever since Sweetie Devi has come on, I think what India has done is India is trying to open up a bit more than usual instead of that deep ultra defensive approach. Once again with Uzbekistan, they lay it off towards the left. Got some players out there. Nilofa, another forward release. Once again, a bit too powerful of a touch out there. Easy pickings for Pyle. She's gonna get them all day long. And I think the quality of the game that she's had, that is incredible. Sweetie once again pushing it forward to Manisha. Manisha back to Sweetie Devi, and Sweetie now goes for that aerial touch. Nicely collected. The ball being played amongst themselves. Back with Uzbekistan. They are cool and calm out there. They are not being pressurized into releasing the ball early. And I think also a massive shout out to Lela. She's got her entire left thigh bandaged, and yet the kind of spirit that she has shown, she wants to keep on fighting. That's the kind of commitment that you have for your nation, whether it's a friendly or not, whether it's a tournament going on or an all important encounter. That commitment is what gets you a place in the international team, and embodying your nation out there. It's always a matter of pride. Another lovely ball from the left, and an excellent bit of defending as well from India. This is what
Substitution
India
required, yeah.
would have wanted more and more out of the start of the second half as well. And we were talking about a change, we were talking about experimentations, and we were talking about goalkeepers. Looks like Crispin Chetri wants to have a look at how good can Mona Lisa Devi can be. We are not really sure if Payal Basude has a bit of an injury concern or not, but Monalisa Devi has also shown a lot of promise in the Indian Women's League, and now it's time for her to shine in the Indian threads in this all important friendly with 10 minutes of regulation time remaining.
Payal has had a really good game. Did have a bit of an injury scare, so of course they don't want to take any chances. But as Crispin Chetri said, he wants everybody to get a game, so it's great for Mona Lisa, who now comes on. That should be a foul. Chance to take that free kick quickly. Nicely played into Manisha, who's held back, and that is really good stuff from her. She gets a foul, and good sportspersonship there from Leila after making that foul. But very good hold-up play from Manisha. That is something that we haven't seen too much of from the Indian strikers. And let's see if they can put in a good delivery or maybe even take a shot. It's quite far, but it looks like Manisha might be wanting to attempt a shot herself by the looks of it. This is a chance that India really need to try and capitalize on.
Let's see if India can make the most of this. Manisha all set for that free kick. Obviously, the distance from the goal is quite a lot. Whether she's going to use this more as a springboard. Takes one along the carpet, and what a strike there. Unfortunate, however, that she's found Maftuna at the other end of it, and Maftuna once again pulling off a crucial save. There was a fine ball there from Manisha, and a lovely shot on the turn. A startling one, but Maftuna, she had her eyes on the ball. And I think that's another lesson for the aspiring goalkeepers. No matter what you are doing, no matter wherever you are, you need to keep your eyes on the ball at all times, because that is what will get you into the right position to try and stall what can be a crucial attack from your counterparts. Another cross there, headed away by the Indian players. The threat still remains alive. That's a lovely outside dodge by Nilufa, and she tries to get the ball into the mix out there. However, the Indian defenders, it was Malati Munda possibly, apologies, Kiran Pista, who ensured that there's no space at all for the Uzbekistan to sneak one of those crosses into the box. Corner for Uzbekistan. Let's see if they can make the most of it.
Here they go, looking to try and put this game beyond India. Niloufar, who has been majestic with both feet, gets the ball back, looks for a first time cross towards the second post. It's headed back into the danger area. Mona Lisa takes that and collects quite calmly. She is quite young, a very good prospect in Indian football. Has played for the India under 17s and under 20s as well. So this is a great outing for her in between the sticks of 10 to 15 minutes. And everybody getting a run in. That's what these international friendlies are about. Of course, results do matter as well. Manisha plays it wide, a bit of space here. Anju Tamang's cross is a dangerous one, but very well collected by Maftuna. And we should speak about her as well. She's been really good in both the games. Didn't make too many saves, but has claimed the ball well, has collected the ball well, came out really nicely in that first game to avoid, to basically delay Soumya from taking a shot. So might be keeping 2 clean sheets herself here. Maftuna, but she gives the ball away. This is an opportunity. Shot is taken. Another fantastic save right on cue. Looks like she's hurt her knee in the bargain. But 2 opportunities now back to back for India. This time Kartika's shot parried away by the goalkeeper.
It was a top draw enterprise there from the Indians. Kartik Angamutu once again trying that shooting flair of hers, and Maftuna instantly asking for support. She's already got that knee taped and she wouldn't want to put more pressure on it. I think she landed on that. It's getting slightly tense out in the dugout of Uzbekistan as India has decided to throw metal to the pedal. They're trying to make the most of these crucial moments. Can they get that equalizer? That's going to be important as well. Crispin Chetri now taking a bit of a breather, and he's being aided by his teammates out there as well. An opportunity for Team India to try and make the most of what can be a menacing set piece. It's going to be interesting to see if Maftuna would like to continue for the remaining 5 minutes because, as you said, Liam, that both the goalkeepers they have actually come up with a pretty solid performance. I mean, obviously, Payal Basude, she was brilliant. Of course, she did concede a goal, but again, at the end of the day, when you're up against almost close to 20-25 shots in a game, if one slips through, it's not much that you can do. Kiran floats that corner in at the second post, trouble brewing. India still looming large in the box there. However, Uzbekistan finally flashes out what could have been a question mark for that rear guard of theirs. Decent body shielding. India still trying to make the most of this opportunity. Keeps the possession alive. Wanted to set it forward. Oh, in fact, Anju Tamang has won it back. And Manisha with a bit of a quick turn as well. But eventually it's Uzbekistan who has the last laugh. Another solid attack being built by India. And Uzbekistan kept on their toes there.
It's getting nervy now for the Uzbekistan defense. 1-0 is never enough. Another ball played through. Not dealt with. That's a challenge from behind. But on the ball by the looks of it. And a long ball which will go straight to the goalkeeper Mona Lisa. I'm not too sure why she's moving it back. Maybe just holding on to it for a bit. But now they'll have to get on their bike once again. Crispin Chetri would love an equalizer here. A result against Uzbekistan would really give them quite a bit of a positive punch. A bit of confidence. Of course, the way they've played itself will give them confidence. Lovely ball through. Rimpa plays it over for Anju Tamang, who's done really well since coming on. Puts a bit of pressure, but it's cleared away by Hikmatova. India have it again. Manisha plays it wide. Patient build up. Manisha does really well. Shows her physicality. This is what India was missing initially. It will be an Uzbekistan ball, but it will be just a bit of a delay. Feruza is down. And Rohit, this physicality, this hold-up play for Manisha, this is something that is a really positive thing for Crispin Chetri because if you come up against a side who has a bit of physicality like Uzbekistan,
Substitutions
Manisha
for
could be your go-to
Uzbekistan.
striker.
Jersey number 8 out, 23 in.
Oh, absolutely. I think, again, you have to fight fire with fire. So when your opposition has got the muscles, you will need muscles as well. Another change coming up, and it is Diora Bakhtiarova, who's being introduced by Uzbekistan. Even Katrina would want a few more of her players to get a bit more of game time. Of course, this remaining 1.5 minute, that's an excellent release. The Indian defense couldn't really make the most out of it. Manalisa, she was on tenterhooks, but ensured the fact that she has collected the ball well enough. Ilvina, she's had a great game and has been taken off by Katrina. Uzbekistan back on the ball now. They're trying to counter India's recent resurgence. The Indian defenders standing tall, keeping their composure. Another attempt to try and pummel the ball towards that Indian goal. Mona Lisa out of a line, wraps the gloves around the ball, waiting to release it and roll it up at the earliest possible. Finds out Silky Devi. Are we gonna see Route 1 brand of football coming into play? We do. Kartika Ngamutu through the center, releases it further forward on the right, and it's Manisha taking her time, looking for support, waiting for her teammates to arrive in the box. That's exquisite. She stays on the ball, tries to force her way into the center, and eventually gets a deflection and a consequent corner as well. The last 10 to 15 minutes, India has really dished out an impeccable performance. Can they get a goal to cap it off with a bit of glistening finish?
Additional time 5 minutes.
That still remains the question. We will have 5 long minutes of action still to come up. Anju Tamang delivers the cross at the far post. Again, an exceptional collection there by Maftuna.
Oh, yes, a fantastic collection. Tried to clear it early. Ball comes straight back to Maftuna, but that was the kind of presence I was speaking about. Manisha doing really well, making the most of the minutes that she's got under her belt today. But Maftuna really good between the sticks, and Katrina Kulbait, the coach of Uzbekistan, knows that she is just a few minutes away from another victory against a strong, a solid India side. Here comes Uzbekistan again. Nice reverse ball. This is the chance to make it two. Poor shot. Easy pickings there for Mona Lisa, but Diora, who's just come on, had a chance maybe to go towards that second post. She went first post. There was not enough power on that one. And 5 minutes of added time, 5 minutes between India and maybe their second successive defeat against Uzbekistan. But no matter what the result, they have been really good in both the games and will only keep improving under Crispin Chetri. Here is Manisha again. She has been a bundle of energy in the last few minutes, taking on the players, holding them off, drawing fouls, getting corners, now earning a throw in for her side. Throw in taken quickly. Nice turn from Anju. But she plays it away. And here's another shot. Fantastic effort, but it's just wide from Sangeeta Basfor. And is that the opportunity that has gone a begging and might be the last one for India, Rohit?
Very well can be. I think the idea was to try and figure out Rimpa Haldar at that second post. But Rimpa was nowhere close by. Maftuna is not really happy with India getting in so many of those crosses coming in, particularly from the right. The right wing has been an absolute hornet's nest. India once again on the lookout. Rimpa Haldar trying to fire one, however, has been repelled away by the opposition. They keep on coming forward. They keep on building the all-important momentum. But now Uzbekistan, they've snatched it back. And here they come looking for more chances. Looking for a possible insurance strike. Mona Lisa comes out with a staunch save out there. That might have gone out. No, in fact, Uzbekistan does well to keep the ball in. A bit of a mispass there. Allows India to win the ball back. Rimpa Haldar with some exquisite footwork. She is in a tussle. The referee hasn't really blown the whistle. In all likelihood, she wanted to give advantage to India. But India loses out possession nonetheless. Uzbekistan with another long ball headed away. Back with Kartika Ngamutu. She's got some space ahead of them. And releases it for Manisha onto the far right. Manisha trying to speed past her marker. Manisha does well to keep the possession alive. Trying to take that outside route. Eventually plays it slightly back. Again, a bit of a miscued pass there, allowing Uzbekistan to breathe a lot freer.
Nicely taken down there, Uzbekistan. No, they just need to keep the ball for a minute or so, but this has been relentless stuff from India in the last few minutes. It's good to see that they can attack quite a bit. Need to defend a bit here, though. Diora just holds on to the ball, as I said. That's what Uzbekistan need at the moment, but she gives it away quite cheaply. Anju plays it back towards Basfor. Now Kartika back to Anju. One final push, perhaps, for the Blue Tigresses. Space for Manisha on the right hand side. It's now or never. She goes for the cut in instead of the cross and has, I think, pulled up with her calf a bit here. It's been put beyond by Uzbekistan. They might be putting the ball wide now. Yes, they are. They just have a few minutes to go. Manisha, unfortunately, has stayed down injured. And, well, they are still keeping the ball in play. So this might be the last few seconds of the game, but it's been such a good performance from both teams. It's looking like Uzbekistan will be taking another victory home, and both of them might just be a 1-1 unless India can pull off something miraculous in this last few seconds. Anju Tamang now on the right hand side. This might be their last chance. Anju looking for some space, puts a ball towards the edge of the area. Shot comes in. Oh, what a touch! Just beyond for a corner. That was hit with some venom. And that was the last kick of the game from Sangeeta Basfor. What a save from Maftuna, who has incidentally, with that touch of her fingertips, given Uzbekistan their second 1-0 victory. And what a game towards the end. Sangeeta almost equalizing, but at the end of it all, it's Uzbekistan 1, India nil in both the games. But what a game, Rohit.
What a stunning finish. That would have been an absolute thunderbolt from range. Could have brought the skies down in the garden city of India, out here at the Dravid Padukone Center of Excellence. A moment of, or rather a heart-stopping moment out here in both the camps. And Crispin Chetri, I think he made it extremely clear that he would want this kind of performance. The performance shown by the Blue Tigresses towards the end, I think that is what matters. That is how you make the most of it. It was important for India to at least showcase the mettle that they have got, the spirit with which they can play. And eventually, at the end of the day, Uzbekistan might walk away with the bragging rights. But I think India, they will take a lot of positives home. Yes, there will be a lot of work to be done. But at the end of the day, the question that Crispin Chetri would have found his answer to is that India is ready to take on higher ranked opposition. That's the final score line. Uzbekistan 1, India 0. It is Nilufa Kudratova's strike that got them the all important victory, creating the solitary difference between the two sides. With that, a set of two friendlies comes to an end. With that, we will draw curtains on what was an incredible 4 day of two teams showcasing exemplary footballing sense. Uzbekistan obviously finding the back of the net early in the second half. India late to react, late to respond, was kind of consumed by the sudden resurgence, the sudden spike in the number of attacks. But in the second half, towards the end, towards that particular 80-85 minute mark, India brought on quite a few fresh faces, and eventually they did come up with a very handy response, with a quite a significant statement that Uzbekistan will never forget. Crosses deluged from the right. India, time and time again, came close enough to get that equalizer slotted in. Uzbekistan as well came up with few decent chances, but first Payal Basude and then Mona Lisa came up with also excellent saves, keeping India afloat in the game. There was another fine free kick. However, the Indian wall, it stood tall, repelling the Uzbekistan attacks. Yes, quite a few injuries as well. And this player, Manisha, ever since she came on, Uzbekistan's life was quite difficult. There was another fine shot and also a bit of spillage, which ensured the fact, Mona Lisa, that she's holding on to it. A free kick from which India actually probed the opposition goalkeeper significantly, but at the end of the day, couldn't really breach through the gates. There was another fine chance, another long range effort, and an equally stellar save at the other end. Chances galore at both sides, but both goalkeepers, in fact, three goalkeepers in the mix, considering the fact that India came up with a change, stood up to the task. Just that solitary goal from Nilufar is what created the difference. That was Sangeeta was for with that last minute strike before the curtains were drawn. And that's the full time stats. 47% possession for India, 53 for Uzbekistan, 10 shots from India. Quite active. 4 of them on target, 14 from Uzbekistan, 9 on target, 8 saves from India, 4 saves from Uzbekistan, 4 corners each for both the teams, 4 fouls each committed by both the teams, and it was a very clean game. No cards were shown. And with that being said, the full time score, Uzbekistan 1, India 0. And with this, your commentators Rohit and Liam will be signing off from this friendly. Thank you everyone for joining in. We'll see you again shortly enough. Stay tuned to the official YouTube channel of AIFF and ensure the fact that you are supporting Indian football for the very best. Thank you everyone.